at the time, if I told you a year ago they're going to trade Chris Sale, there isn't a single person that wouldn't raise their hand and say, do it. So hopefully it's up to Grissom. I always say, sometimes it doesn't matter who you trade. It's really about the return. And if Grissom's your second baseman for the next 4, 5, 6, 8 years, or becomes just a good player for you, I think you do that all day, even if Sale is healthy, throwing great for 1 year.
The Red Sox offensively, I mean, we're now almost to the quarter pole of the season, Lou. It hasn't been great. Is it as bad as it looks? Kind of your thoughts on the order and the lineup to this point.
It's thin. I mean, there's no, it is what it is. It's like, you just can't replace Tristan Casas. You can't. And, they put Rafael out there at shortstop to replace a guy in Story that was hopefully going to hit third for you or 50 for you. He's out of the lineup. Well, the 4-hole hitter is out of the lineup. But you can replace Story with, Rafael's defense. And say, just solidify the defense, please, to help us win games. You can't replace Casas' bat. You can throw Romy Gonzalez and Dominic Smith and Garrett Cooper over there. But this isn't like one of those things where we just need someone to play defense. No. You lost your 4-hole hitter, and that really hurts. And so offensively, they got guys that are just getting back into it with Smith and Cooper and Grissom, and it's just inconsistent. And when guys like O'Neill and Devers don't come through, you run into a lot of things that we saw the last few days.
You mentioned Grissom when I asked you about Sale before. I know it's early and we haven't gotten a good look at him, but what have been your early impressions?
I like him as a hitter. He's a big kid. Inside the ball, I think the power will come. He doesn't have it like now. It's not like it's a finished product, right? But I think that'll come. But defensively, there's double plays. I think he's fine to his right. Turning a double play, getting a ball up the middle, that long throw. It's balls to his left, that short throw. I feel like it's still a little awkward. And I've seen guys that quite sure how to throw short distance and snap it over there like a true second baseman would. So it's still transition. He's trying to figure it out, but I think he's a good player. He's the youngest player on their roster, and we forget about that sometimes too. So he'll settle in there.
Hey, Lou, Cutter Crawford's off to a hell of a start, and apparently he's thrown that slider more. All right, so it's been, 5, 6 starts. The league has kind of seen what Cutter Crawford sort of brings to the table. Is this the month that could validate him as a top 3 type starter for the future? I mean, how do you see Cutter Crawford and now the adjustments that the league is going to make, and can he counter that over the next month or so?
Yeah, I mean, I always, talk about like checking boxes. Like he's checked the box for like the first month and a half. Like he's an elite pitcher that can get guys out. So now you need to find out, can he do it for 6 months? Now you need to find out if he can give you 180 innings. So there's a lot more to prove. But the interesting thing with him and some of the other guys is like he's talking about the fastball stuff, and I can look at usage, how much he throws it. And there are games where he's throwing it like 20% of the time, and there's games like last one where he throws it 43% of the time. So I do think that there are adjustments. I do think that he is sometimes adjusting, right? Saying, okay, I was big time on the sweeper last time, so now I'm going to go more of my fastball and cutter. So I think they're making those adjustments. But you're right, the league is starting to figure some things out, and now it's up to them to kind of make the adjustment.
Beyond just Cutter Crawford, a decade ago in Major League Baseball, teams were throwing the fastball 57% of the time. Now it's 47% of the time. The Red Sox are at about 32%. Is that the kind of thing where not just on Crawford, but the rest of the league has started to make adjustments to the Red Sox there?
I think that just as far as fastball usage goes, I think teams are starting to realize that it doesn't really matter how hard you throw unless it's 103 or maybe out of a bazooka, that it's going to get hit, and it's going to get hit really hard. So it was like for example, the other day it was – who was it? Slayton. I'm like, dude throws 97, 98, and he never throws it. And it was cutter. And he threw Ozuna 98, and it was a single up the middle for two RBIs. And I'm like, well, maybe he should stop throwing his fastball. I don't know. So I think that when you look around the league, guys are catching up to it. And that's why I'm throwing little cutters, I'm throwing little sweepers. As long as I throw it for strikes, my job's to get this guy out and not prove that I'm a man and throw the ball 98 by him.
What'd you see in Pavetta's performance up against Sale? What stood out to you, if anything, Lou?
That he probably should have taken one more start down in AAA. Because I thought he wasn't as bad as the line showed, but he's been so good because he's been like that bat against Ozuna. He had him like 0-1, and then he tried to throw 2 sweepers, and they were way off the plate. And I'm like, if he's sharp, that's either on the corner or there's a swing and miss, and it's a 1-2 count, and he gets out of the inning. So there were just moments within the game, within an at-bat, to where he didn't execute a pitch or two. And sometimes that's all it takes. So I thought his stuff looked good. I thought he threw the ball okay. He just gave up 3 home runs. But 58 pitches, 4 innings. I get it. You want to bring him back here, but I don't know, maybe get him up to 70 and then maybe activate him. But and we're going to see the same thing with Bayo on Sunday. I don't know how far he's going to go, but they wanted to get these guys back. They got him back, but to be honest with you, starting pitching was never the problem.
They're getting some of these starting pitchers back. No idea on when they're getting Yoshida back, who was already looking like a part-time player before he got hurt. What are they going to do with him long term?
Long term is a very good question. As far as can they move on from him? Who wants to DH the money? That's all he kind of does. Short term, he's your designated hitter. I do think that. I think they held some information back that made that whole thing bad. I think his hand's been bothering him for a while. That's why he didn't play in Pittsburgh. And when those guys came back off the IL, what we would call him, he needed to DH his hat. And then he played when everybody was fine, but he blew his hand up again. The hand's been bothering him for some time. So they're finally getting it looked at now. When he is healthy, he's the DH. And, in the future, in the off season, if somebody's interested, I'm sure they would take phone calls to try to have a little more flexibility by moving on.
Lou, they brought you in as a part of the audit process of everything going on in the organization over there. Do we have an audit? Do we have an audit update?
Yeah. No, it's like one of those things. I found out that I need more off days, but I also need to get paid more per game. So that was my audit.
That's what they're finding across the organization is that people want to get paid more and work less. Welcome to 2024 America, baby.
Yeah. Why not? Get a piece of it.
Oh, man. Anything about the Nationals stand out to you? They're 18-18. Are they like the Red Sox? Are they worse than the Red Sox? What's the scouting report on the Nats that you know, Lou?
Well, C.J. Abrams is kind of finally stepping into his own. He's an all-star. He's a star. He's a stud. We played them last year, and they had sucked. And then all of a sudden we played them. I'm like, man, they actually look like really good athletes. It's a fun game. They got some arms. They got some athletes. No one's going to hit 300, but on 250 on a given night, guy go 3 for 3 and steal a couple bags. And you're like, huh. And I think that's their lap. They still have some pretty good young players with some promise. Probably not there yet. It's one of those teams that you can catch them one weekend and they can look like the worst team in the league, and you can catch them one weekend and they're like the best team in the league, kind of like the Red Sox. So it's very similar.
Okay, so let's play this out and skip forward a few months. And maybe Gresham Fourier asks you this every week, and you've already answered this a million times. But let's say they're game over 500, approaching the trade deadline. Is this the year they actually make some additions and add to a team that's, quote unquote, in the mix?
Okay, so my opinion on that. If you want to keep Alex Cora, you better. That would be my opinion. I think that if you're in a similar situation as you were last year and there is no help again, I think you just telling your manager to walk out the door. Because if I'm Cora in his shoes, I've already seen it 2 years in a row. I've seen what off seasons look like. And if you are not going to support us, even though we're a game or two out, and give us an arm that we need rather than a utility second baseman like you did last year, if this is the way it's going to be, I don't think I want to be part of the future. So I'd like to think they'd make some moves for that reason, but we'll see. We'll see.
He doesn't have a contract, as is well documented, and he's answered questions about often. So, do you think they want to keep him?
I think they'd like to keep him. See, my opinion on this whole thing is that, honestly, this isn't about the Red Sox wanting to keep Cora. This is Cora interviewing the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Who are you? What are we doing? If I want to manage for the next 5 or 6 years, do we spend any more? Do we actually make trades mid-season to improve my club? Are we going to win again? What are we doing here? So the Red Sox can love Cora all they want. If I was Alex Cora, to be honest with you, I'm sitting around interviewing them, waiting to see what they're going to do at the deadline. Because this offseason wasn't a good sign. Is anything going to change? He's told you guys he doesn't want to manage for the next 15, 20 years. If he wants to manage for 5 or 6 years, you think he wants to keep rebuilding? I don't think so. I don't think you should.
Lou, what's the schedule for you this weekend?
I actually have Friday, Saturday off, and then I roll into the booth on Sunday with Joe. With Will, because Joe has something going on, and then I got that Toronto series, I think, or Tampa series next week. Then I get the weekend off, then I do some more TV. So it's radio coming up here, and then some TV. So But I got a couple days off here that I'm just trying to enjoy. You know, this is honeydew time right now.
Well, that's true. And unlike Razor, you will make sure that your golf will be lined up before heading to Florida, correct?
Oh, 100%. It was lined up down in Georgia. It's a beautiful golf course there. I will line it up, and that's another thing. I can get here and get ready for Game 3, and hopefully the maroon comes out and rips someone's face off.
What's on the honeydew list?
There's a little bit of yard work, right? There's just a little bit of, hey, let's go get the leaves, that final spring cleanup, you know, out of the hydrangeas. You know, I just put my earbuds in, actually listen to you guys or whatever I got going on. So just like good things around the yard that we both like to enjoy doing. So
who knew that Lou knew his way around a nice forsythia bush? Be able to
He's
cut.
Italian.
I don't. I just do what she tells me.
Oh, you know what,
Lou, what's your tomato game?
Yeah, Lou. Billy got a good point. He's like, you're Italian. Of course you know how. Grow the tomatoes.
Listen, I got tomatoes, and I actually have a lemon tree, and it is fantastic.
Really? You a big fan of chicken piccata, are you?
Yeah, well, it is fantastic. Yeah, really good lemons.
Limoncello, all that. I've heard Billy's got the Italian thing.
Made some limoncello, as a matter of fact. Made some. It was nice.
Oh, very good. Fourier will be looking for the recipe, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be.
All right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Have a good weekend. Talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
See you, Lou. There we go. There goes the voice of baseball in Boston, Lou Merloni.